Hello everybody, and this is Burke Lyle here on Burke Lyle Sports Talk. Major news going on right now around Major League Baseball. So today, and this happened yesterday with the Los Angeles Angels, you know how I first found out is that obviously I got an alert on my phone, but I was watching the Yankees-Astros game listening to WFAN feed, John Sterling, Susan Walden, and I found out the news that Pujols had been released, and I wasn't really thinking about it that much. I mean, when I look at it, I'm not shocked given his performance in recent years as a player on the field, and especially really this year kind of going downhill, knowing that he's not anywhere close to the same player that he was for 11 years in St. Louis. Since Albert Pujols from 2001 to 2011 in St. Louis was about as good as any player in Major League history. You put him right up there with Babe Ruth or Barry Bonds or Miguel Cabrera in his prime in Detroit as one of the greatest hitters ever. And again, what he accomplished for his first 10 years, 11 years in St. Louis. If you add 10 more good years after that, or parts of good years, then you could have wondered, is this the player that's going to break the all-time home run record? And just an all-time great performance right there. And yes, his performance with the Angels, I'd say performed like a productive major leaguer at times, even you could say borderline all-star at times, and just an effective player at times. Obviously not what the team was paying for that's not what the Angels were paying for. And ultimately, this is what happened. And also today, we're going to this is one video. So this is going to be about the Angels and kind of about Pujols in general. It's kind of a mixed video. But let's talk about the Angels game last night, because it was kind of an interesting game. And for this organization, I really think they're heading downhill. I mean, you thought they're going to win this year. Maybe they're going to win this year. You don't know when it's going to be the year. For the last decade, they have tried to win, okay? It's not that they're not trying to win. They have tried to win. They've spent a lot of money to win. I mean, Artie Moreno has spent hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on payroll to try to put together a good major league team. And that has not happened other than 2014 when they won 98 games. Yet they didn't win a single game in the playoffs. They got beat by the Royals, obviously. That's what happened then. So they have not been able to do it. And then last night, they just got swept by a series to the Rays. They failed to beat a Rays team. And they were 13-13 going into that game. And then they fell backwards and are now 13-17. So they score. So they allowed 7 runs in that 8th inning, and that's basically the story of the game. So they lead 3-1 going into the inning. Randy Arozarena drives in Brett Phillips from first on a double, so it's 3-2. Margot hits a single the other way, opposite field to right, tie game. Margot then scores from second on a pitch that gets away from the catcher, and then it's 4-3. So you score from second on a pitch that gets away, so you advance 2 bases. Then Yandy Diaz hits the ball over the shortstop, and it's 5-3. And then Brett Phillips, who, by the way, scored the first run of the inning to make it 3-2, hits a 2-run double, and it's 8-3 Rays. And it was Mike Myers faced 4 batters, Aaron Sledgers faced 3, Felix Pena faces 6 batters. That's the 8th inning alone, and that's how you turn a 3-1 deficit, a 3-1 lead into an 8-3 deficit. And by the way, Angels player of the game story beforehand, I think through 110 pitches, Andrew Heaney went 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. That would have been the player of the game. It looked like they're on their way to winning a nice low-scoring game. Instead, they lose the game 8-3. The Rays score 7 runs, and that's probably it for the Angels. So that's just part of the day what happened. So just a crazy day. I mean, you think about the news breaking at 2 o'clock Eastern time, probably around 11 o'clock their time, to when they lose that game, probably right around, took about 3 hours, to about 9:30 their time. So just a crazy day for the Angels organization. And they lose that game and they're going downhill. And look, I don't think this Angels team is going to be very good this year. I don't know. It's early. I don't know if they can turn it around. I just don't know if they have the talent to do so. And big story of the day, obviously, for the Angels as they release Albert Pujols. This is a report from Fabian Ardea of The Athletic, who writes for the Angels. So this was actually in the final season, the 10-year, $240 million contract. I remember when this contract was signed. It was signed back in December of 2011. It was a 10-year deal. It looked to be really obviously a lot of excitement for the Angels. When you sign the best player in baseball at that time, when you sign a 3-time MVP, that was a huge splash right there for the Angels. And Perry Minasian, the general manager for the Angels, said they talked about an exit strategy for about 2 weeks now. His performance had been declining, obviously, for years, not just this year. And they talked about it, and the reason why is Pujols, and is about to mention this in a quote. He said this about a week ago or so, a little over a week ago, so last week. And for Pujols, this is a player who wants to play every day, has played every day for years and years. And when you're not playing every day, since the reason why he wants to play every day is he wants to do anything he can to help the team win. When you're playing every day, it gives you an opportunity to contribute, whether it's getting a hit and scoring a run, whether it's hitting a home run, whether it's driving in multiple runs, whether it's making plays in the field. There's numerous ways you can contribute in the game of baseball. And Pujols said, quote, "My expectation is to be in the lineup every day." Pujols said just over a week ago, so that took place a week ago, as I said. That's what I trained for. I mean, your guys' expectation was a little bit different because you are writers and you like to make stories. But for me, since day one, when I came to spring training, I expect to play every day. Whenever my name is in the lineup, I do whatever it takes to help this organization, because at the end of the day, this is not about me. It's about organization. It's about organization. So again, tries to do whatever he can to help the organization. And maybe right now, and you can look at the metrics, say, oh, negative WAR, things like that. Yes, is maybe helping the team by being on the bench. And granted, yes, Pujols likes to play every day. And they have tried hard to win over the last decade. And they have. I mean, you think about the other signings. They signed C.J. Wilson, who at the time was the best pitcher, the ace of those two Rangers teams that went to back-to-back World Series. They tried with Josh Hamilton, who was for a short stretch, I'd say from about 2008 to 2012, was one of the most feared hitters in baseball. Certainly in 2012, you could say that, and won an MVP. Josh Hamilton was right there as one of the best players in baseball. And Anthony Rendon, who they signed, who was dealt with injuries, has not quite gotten it going. We have not seen too much of Anthony Rendon as an Angel, but as a National, was a valuable third baseman for them on both sides. Played good defense, hit really well for the Nationals, hit for power, average, great contact hitter. I'd say it was just a notch below Nolan Arenado as the best third baseman in baseball. I'd say consistently one of the very best. His contract was up. Nationals chose to pay Steven Strasburg. Angels give Anthony Rendon a lot of money. So again, the Angels are signing productive players who were very productive in their previous stops. Pujols, Hamilton, Wilson, Rendon. That's just a small example. And the Angels have been a team that is aggressive in spending money, yet it hasn't worked. And here they are again. Probably look like a team that's going to win. If I had to say, I don't know, 75, 80 games, miss the playoffs. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like for this Angels team. And it's interesting reading about the Angels. And this is big for the CBA. They would have been in the playoffs more times if the playoffs would have been 7 teams per league and not just 5. So they're kind of just off the playoffs each and every year. Yes, they try to win, and it just doesn't quite work out. So Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic wrote an article, interesting article about it, kind of talking about that in the Angels, so things that he pointed out. So it's interesting. I knew this. I was aware of it at the time. So it's 500th, 600th, and 3,000th hit. So 500th home run and 600th home run came with the Angels, and so did his 3,000th. So major milestones. So 500, 600 home runs. Most people that accomplish those milestones are in the Hall of Fame, unless there's PED issues. 3,000 hits. Same thing. That is a great number that not too many players get. 3,000 hits. So obviously, when you look at his biggest awards, MVPs, World Series, Obviously, the World Series is the ultimate team award. Came with the Cardinals. Was hoping to do the same thing with the Angels. Never happened. But when you look at major milestones, 500, 600, and then 3,000 hits, came with the Angels, so very impressive milestones. So Angels fans got to see those milestones. And by the way, also just to change gears a little bit, Jared Walsh, who again, he's a very good story. You know, I'm locally here in Athens. I go to baseball games at UGA. I've seen Jared Walsh. He played at Georgia. He was actually a two-way player there. They did a little bit of two-way play in the majors, but ultimately became a DH, first base, outfield. Jared Walsh is having a very good rookie year. He has contributed quite a bit for the Angels over the last couple of years, so that's a good story there. And obviously Shohei Ohtani, who again will DH, and then Walsh will usually play first base, sometimes the outfield. So Ohtani, obviously they're contributing. They're in the lineup. Ohtani last night, by the way, another story. Hit his 10th home run of the year last night. Again, could be major stories for the Angels. So again, what could have been a better day for the Angels, you lose Pujols, which that's hard. When someone's with your organization, it's kind of hard to move on from something like that. I mean, it's a big news, and then also you lose a game like that in a game where Andrew Heaney pitches great, and then Shohei Ohtani, it's his 10th home run of the year. I mean, you want to be talking about these things, but obviously, sort of like what I did yesterday with the Caps and Rangers, when it's a great story, individual stories happen, they want to highlight, you can't as much. Probably been better as a rapid fire storyline than what ultimately happened. So that's what happens. And the Angels, they had a hard time fitting Pujols in the lineup. They did. I mean, he was in their lineup for some games, but it just didn't make sense to play him. And by the way, their starting pitching rotation was 29th in the MLB in terms of ERA, so basically at the bottom. By the way, I looked up in Baseball Reference, their team ERA overall, I think is 14th in the American League or something like that. It's like about 5, and then they struggle on defense as well. So they have a hard time playing defense. And really for Pujols, it's interesting. I want to take a look back at his time on the Angels. So if you highlight right now, 10 years on the Angels, really 9. So basically, 222 home runs, 783 RBIs, hit 256 overall, struck out more than he walked. Again, not an insanely high strikeout rate. Walk rate not terrible. I guess OPS plus at 100. So again, at 108. So again, slightly above league average. So again, in 9 years, per 162 games, basically, he would hit 130 home runs, 108 RBIs. So not bad. So again, decent numbers, but you were hoping he would have contributed more compared to what you saw, say, in St. Louis. And if you want to look at what he did in St. Louis for 11 years, then obviously it is very different. 328, 445 home runs, 1,300 RBIs. Obviously batting 900, almost 1,000 walks compared to just 700 strikeouts. So again, walk rate has dropped down significantly. So has the batting average, and his career batting average, which was 328 in St. Louis, is now at 298. So his batting average has dropped significantly. Obviously his OPS plus, which is 145, still well above league average, dropped. So again, all the numbers, so his career numbers have dropped off quite a bit since his time with the Cardinals, obviously. So numbers drop off significantly. All-star pretty much every year in St. Louis. So again, different numbers, different, just just everything kind of drops off. And yeah, maybe had some pretty good years in with the Angels as well, but nothing anywhere close to what he accomplished with his team. And then this year, hitting 198 in 92 plate appearances, just 3 walks, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. So his numbers are significantly off. So again, if you want to look at certain numbers like OPS plus well below league average. In terms of WAR, it's actually kind of negative. His WAR is almost at 100, but he's at a 0.5 WAR already this year, minus 1.8 in 2017. So again, numbers not anywhere close to what they were in St. Louis, where you had WAR years of 8, 9, almost 10. So again, over the last 4 years, -2 WAR. So it didn't really contribute. Actually, his career WAR has dropped since then. So you get the point. Get the point that he's just not the same player in Anaheim that he was, say, in St. Louis. It's just not the same. And when you look at the 2021 Angels as a whole, so I just want to look at the Angels as a whole. So the Angels move on from Pujols, just not the same player, obviously. So when you look at this year overall, so going to this year, Anthony Rendon's on the IL. He's been on the IL not once but twice. We don't know what type of player Anthony Rendon is currently with the Angels right now. We're not sure yet. Rendon really hasn't gotten into a full rhythm with the Angels. Mike Trout may win another MVP, which is in some ways is hitting well. Was hitting for the longest time, is hitting well over 400. I mean, again, he's played about 20% of the year. Might hit 40 plus home runs. Might drive in well over 100. Might win his 4th MVP award. Yet at the same time, you may have an Angels team that struggles to win 80 games. Jared Walsh, good story, hitting .330, 6 home runs, 22 RBIs. Shohei Ohtani just hit his 10th home run of the year the other night. Hitting with an OPS plus of 165. Mike Trout OPS plus 241. And then you have Jared Walsh at 171. So again, very good numbers that we want to highlight and share. But again, I don't know if that's enough. And then we look at the pitching staff. I guess you could say Ohtani's been all right. We don't know. His walk rate is a little alarming high. His strikeout rate is very high. It's hard to say what Ohtani's been on the mound. You hope he gets more organized and can be more consistent as a pitcher. He needs to work on the walks. But then you could say their 2 best starting pitchers, Dylan Bundy and Andrew Heaney, they have shown good flashes at times for sure. Yet, I don't know if they're good enough to be a 1 and 2 combination right now. And then really the rest of the rotation, Cobb, Canning, and then Quintana, they have very high rates. Their whips are too high. Quintana's whip rate is 2.2 per ERA plus at 41. So kind of you have above average and below average starters in the bullpen. You don't like the ERA, and obviously just the team ERA in general, 5.07, one of the really worst. Now again, they say fielding independent pitching, they say it should be at 4. So again, I think the defense we talked about earlier is a major concern right there, since if you go to defensive numbers, like in terms of where they're at, in terms of it's in the negatives. All the defensive numbers you see are pretty much in the negative. So again, bad fielding. I think the bad fielding certainly helps with pitching, whether it's guys positioned in the right way, maybe errors turn to runs, I don't know. So a lot of problems with this Angels team in general, a lot of weaknesses. Again, Joe Madden brought over, they are currently below 500 again. Again, this organization, they've tried a lot of different things. They've spent a lot of money. Their farm system has particularly not been that good since they've, it's gotten better over the years, but still, they've tried Joe Madden. So far, that's not working. You need to give them more time. Again, they're 13 and 17. There's time. Here's the thing. They have 130 games left to play. So you look at the standings on June 1st, maybe it's different. You go to July 4th, maybe it's different. You got the All-Star break, maybe it's different. You come trade deadline, maybe they're buyers and they're trying to win. So maybe things are different. this American League West this year, it's a little bit different. It has been years past. The Astros are not going to run away. Maybe the Angels can make a run at it. I don't know. It's early, but just so far things don't look too good for the Angels right now, given that they just got swept by the Rays in a 4-game series, and then the loss of Pujols, just probably a major part of their organization, and just these things have just happened. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens to the Angels. It's early. So this is Burke Lyles. Glad to share the news. Obviously, big news surrounding the Angels today. So I'm thinking in the future I want to make kind of shorter videos, just on kind of rapid fire news videos on days in Major League Baseball. So that's everything for now, and we will see you next time.